Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our core inclusion series. Today, we're talking about how to build classroom belonging from day one. If you're getting your classroom ready for a new school year, you're probably thinking about bulletin boards, classroom procedures, and lesson plans. Today, I want to talk about something that's even more important. How do we create a classroom where every student truly feels like they belong? By the end of this training, you'll walk away with 10 practical strategies that you can start using immediately. I'm Katie from Practical Inclusion Solutions. I've been a special education teacher for almost 20 years. I've been in and out of every elementary grade and seen a lot. Together with my partner Allison, a school SLP, we created Practical Inclusion Solutions to give you quick, practical strategies to incorporate inclusion into your classrooms. Let's get into today's training. I think sometimes we underestimate just how important belonging really is. Students who feel safe, students who feel noticed, students who know someone cares about them, they're just more willing to learn. Classroom belonging isn't something extra. It's actually the foundation that makes everything else easier. This was one of the biggest mindset shifts for me. Making students feel welcome is wonderful, but belonging goes one step further. A student can walk into a beautifully decorated classroom and still feel invisible. Belonging happens when students believe, I matter here. That's what we're trying to build. The first strategy is to learn more than student names. This is one of my favorite strategies because it's so simple. Students expect us to learn their names. They don't expect us to remember that they had a soccer game or that grandma came to visit. One thing I love to do is send home a weekend news sheet with my students to fill out with their family over the weekend of activities they did. Then on Monday, we can talk about it and I can show interest in their lives outside of school. Our next strategy is to build community before curriculum. Some of the best teachers I've worked with take time every morning at morning meeting for a community building game or a would you rather question. Giving students the space to answer or defer with no consequences goes a long way to helping students feel safe and valued. The 10 minutes that they spend in morning meeting probably saves 30 minutes of behavior management later. Our next strategy is to give every student a voice. Students need opportunities to contribute. This helps them feel included and valued. I worked with a teacher who had classroom jobs down to a T. She had a student responsible for answering the phone when it rang, for watering the plants, for delivering items to other teachers. It really made the classroom feel like it was one big family. And as a bonus, it teaches students life and social skills they might not learn otherwise. Next is to celebrate strengths. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in only praising things like grades, how fast students complete their work, or correct answers. Instead, celebrate kindness, persistence, creativity, problem solving, teamwork, showing improvement over something that used to be hard. Students who struggle academically or socially are usually unintentionally not praised as often as the students who succeed with little help. These students feel included in a way they might not have in the past. A celebration or compliment over something seemingly little can go a long way. Some of the phrases I've used in my teaching are, do you remember when that used to be hard for you? Look at you now. Or, I love how hard you're working on that. Or, that really filled my bucket. Thank you. Or even, you just did a great job taking a deep breath before getting upset. Good work. The next strategy is to make participation safe. Think about a time that you've been in a staff meeting or a professional development and somebody asked you a question and said, raise your hand if you know the answer. But you didn't because you were too nervous to say it. Exactly. Many students avoid participating because they're afraid of being wrong. We've all been there. Normalize mistakes so that all students know it's okay. Giving students a chance to opt out of a class discussion is helpful too. Using the method where all students get asked a question, but students can pass the first time around is very helpful. Then, looping back around to see if they formulated a response after listening to their peers alleviates a lot of anxiety. You'll learn pretty quickly that students become willing to take risks when they feel like they're in a safe and judgment-free environment. Our next strategy is to make every student visible. Think about this. Who could disappear in your classroom for half the day without talking to you? Students just want to feel seen. Try one of these strategies to engage with students at least once a day. You could do a daily check-in. You could do a rotating conference schedule. The important part is that you are seeing and speaking to every student every day. Our next strategy is to use classroom traditions. Students remember traditions. They're fun for everyone and create lasting memories. Whether it's a glow-in-the-dark dance party on the day before a break or a birthday celebration, traditions make everyone feel like a community. Traditions create identity. Identity creates belonging. Everybody wins. Next, we have design your classroom for everyone. Your physical environment plays an important role in classroom belonging. You have all kinds of students with all kinds of needs. The student who needs to move around all the time, the students with mobility needs, flexible grouping needs, you've got it all. Ask yourself, can every student see themselves somewhere in this room? What if you have a play corner, but it's not accessible to the student in a wheelchair? Think about a stationary desk and chair with the needs of a student with ADHD who needs to move around or spread out. Take a quick inventory of each space in your classroom and decide if it works for everyone. Next, we have teach students how to include others. This is, in my opinion, one of the most important strategies. Don't assume students naturally know how to do this. We've all had the students who purposely exclude others. That's easily noticed and fixable. But think about your other students. They may be excluding others completely unknowingly. Building in ways to teach your students how to include everyone is hugely important in my book. A great example of this is a teacher I worked with who purposely made time once a week to take all of his students outside. Instead of calling it an extra recess, he focused on only taking out games that were accessible to everyone. Think giant Jenga, modified bowling, Big Connect 4. Then he worked with his whole class on how to include students of all abilities. This was huge for the students with mobility needs who had trouble accessing things at recess. It was huge for the students with social emotional needs who needed some extra coaching. This activity showed that every student how they could interact with all of their classmates so that when they did go out for recess, they had the skills to include everyone. It made an amazing difference. Our last strategy is to make belonging part of every day. Now, just because we're releasing this video at the beginning of the school year doesn't mean classroom belonging is only something to focus on in August or September. It's built through consistent routines that start on the first day of school and continue through the last. It means greeting students, noticing effort, using names, checking in, celebrating growth, giving voice, reflecting together every single day. There are so many things that happen at the beginning of the year. We're so busy organizing our classrooms, preparing our lessons, and establishing procedures. Those things are all important. However, remember that one of the most valuable things you build isn't found in a lesson plan. It's a classroom where every student knows they matter, are valued, and are accepted. If you only remember one thing from today's training, remember this. Students rarely remember every lesson we teach, but they'll remember how they felt in our classroom. If you'd like even more practical ideas, I created a free printable called 30 Simple Ways to Build Classroom Belonging. It gives you one simple activity for every day of the first month of school, and each one takes just a few minutes to implement. You can grab it using the link below. Thanks for watching. You can check out our blog, Instagram, YouTube channel, or sign up for our monthly newsletter for more strategies right in your inbox. See you next time.